All right. Chapter 10 is going to blow your world. Are you ready? Ready? Oh, I'll turn it on in a minute. You can look up here then. It's my evil teacher laugh. So, Chapter 10 is continuing our talk on special journals. So in Chapter 9, we went through and we learned out about a purchases journal and a cash payments journal. Those are special journals because they're only used for one type of accounts. When we take a look at the general journal is kind of like the catch-all. If it didn't go in the either two, it went in there. So in this chapter, we're going to be learning 2 more special journals, and we will also use our general journal. So the first special journal that we're going to look at in Chapter 10 is going to be our sales journal. Our sales journal is going to be used to record any time a customer buys on an account from us. So here's an example. The Thunder Zone has water bottles. The middle school has little prizes that they give away, and they wanted water bottles. So we, the Thunder Zone, brought down 20 water bottles to the middle school. Did they pay us right away? No. We gave them a bill, and they will pay us later, right? So that is a customer that bought on an account. So instead of going in our journal and then doing accounts receivable, Seymour Middle School, and affecting our other account, we are going to go through and put it in this journal. So this gives us a snapshot of all of our customers who buy from us that are paying us at a later date. Now, we can also have an agreement with customers that if they pay within a certain time frame, they can get a discount. Just like we calculated those discounts on purchases, we can also have a sales discount. Now, sales has a credit normal balance. Would you agree? Sales discount is a contra account, so it would have a debit normal balance. And we also have a sales returns and allowances. Before, in our happy accounting land, every customer, whatever they got, they always kept. That was nice. Also, there was no sales tax. That's not really very realistic. So if I go to Kohl's and I find a pair of jeans that I want to buy at Kohl's, let's say those jeans are $25 because everything's on sale there. If I go to get it, when I go to ring it up, do I just hand them $25? I have to pay my sales tax on it. Does anyone know items that do not have sales tax on it? What type of groceries? Because there are items at Don's that there is sales tax on. Deli. Because the deli, they go through and prepare it, so there'll be sales tax on the items in the deli. If I buy a head of lettuce, if it says this is the cost, there is no tax on that. Okay. So when you take a look at bag of Doritos, that will have tax on it. Eggs, no. Milk, no. So that's kind of the categories there. So if you ever look at your receipt from Don's, you will see some items are called taxable and some are going to be non-taxable. And that is something set up in the state of Wisconsin that they say certain items are taxable or not. Now, here's a fun trivia fact for you. I went to school at UW Superior. Anyone know where that is? Superior, Wisconsin. So it's UW Wisconsin school, but up in Superior. Right across the bridge from Superior is Duluth. Superior and Duluth are called the Twin Ports because Lake Michigan is right there. So at any given point, I could drive over the bridge. It's kind of like the Leo Frigo Bridge. It's kind of a high bridge that connects the two cities. And I could go shopping at the mall in Duluth. And I always went shopping at the mall in Duluth. Reason why? No sales tax on clothes in Minnesota. That is one of their state requirements. They're saying clothes is a necessity, so they don't tax those items. Is that true in Wisconsin? No. So if you buy clothes in Wisconsin, you have to pay sales tax. So it will vary state by state, and businesses always have to go through and they have to track what they have coming in for sales tax. So I bought those pair of jeans at Kohl's for $35. I paid with sales tax, I'm going to say $5 just to keep my math nice and even. So I paid Kohl's a total of $40. Does Kohl's get to keep that $40? What is that $5 for Kohl's now? It is a tax, okay, but they owe it to somebody, right? So that $5 is now a liability to them, because who do they have to send that money to? The government. And to make our life simple, we'll just say the state of Wisconsin, right? So we are going to have an account now called sales tax payable, because the government realizes if they said to a customer like, oh, you just have to keep track of all of your receipts of things you buy and then send the government a check for your sales tax, do you think our consumers would do that? No, which is why they put that on the business, and they say business is it is your job to collect sales tax. No difference if you ever try to buy a vehicle and you have to go figure out, and you have your tax, title, and license that are fees that are associated with it. If you've ever purchased it, you got to figure that out. And then you have to make sure that you report that into the state of Wisconsin when you, even if you buy it privately, because they're going to say, all right, we need to get that money collected. So when a customer buys something from us, we now have to go through and calculate sales tax. Sales tax is always represented how? How do we calculate it? Take the price times what? 0.05 or whatever percent is set. And each state sets a separate percent, and then you actually have counties that have a separate sales tax as well, right? So for a long time, Brown County had a higher sales tax than Allegheny County. Why? Packers. Remember, they passed that special referendum where they were collecting a half a cent more sales tax to help offset the cost of remodeling the Lambeau Field. Now, the same thing held true down in Milwaukee for the Brewers Stadium. They had a 0.5% sales tax added on to all of their items to help recoup the cost of building Miller Park. So when you take a look at different counties can also have different sales tax percentages. So that's why if you ever have somebody that will do a home-based business, they'll ask where do you live, and they have to pay tax based on the address that it's being shipped to. So it's always going to be a percent. And I will tell you here in our happy accounting land, they'll give you a percent, and it will just always be the same for that whole assignment. You don't have to worry about where those customers live. But I will tell you, this is going to add a lot more sense into the work that we're doing, because we got into a little bit of sense in Chapter 10, but you're going to have a lot more sense that you have to account for when you're doing your transactions. And they will just say plus sales tax. So you're going to have to take the value of your product, multiply it by your percent to get your sales tax to add up. All of this deals with their sales journal and how life now is getting more complicated because businesses are going to have to collect sales tax. We then have to go through and record how much money do we owe in sales tax. So how much money does the Thunder Zone owe in sales tax? Hmm. 5%? 5.5%? What's that? Thunder Zone doesn't have to collect sales tax. Why? We're a nonprofit. So as a nonprofit, we don't have to collect or deal with sales tax. So a little bit of a tricky one there. So even if, for example, if I were to ask any of you, go down to Stop at Don's and buy something for our upcoming FBLA meeting. FBLA, being part of school, does not have to pay sales tax, so they are called a tax-exempt status. So you are going to have some assignments here where they'll say North Country School purchase whatever on an account, and you won't have to calculate sales tax. But they will always let you know the types of businesses. If I go to Sam's Club and I need to buy something for school, I can say I'm tax exempt and they already have things on file and I don't have to then pay the sales tax on those items. So you do have certain business entities that don't have to pay sales tax. I do also believe some farmers or agriculture, depending on how those products are being used, if they're being used still in the maintenance of the business, not being consumed, they also don't have to pay sales tax. But that would be set up by each business on what they need to do. Okay, so when we look at this journal, on the left-hand side, straightforward enough, has a date column. Now, look at here. It doesn't say account title. What does it say? account debited. You will recall your purchases journal when I first talked about that. It also did not say account title. It said account credited. Okay, so this is going to be dealing with an accounts receivable account, and accounts receivable should be debited when the customers are buying an account. So that's why it says that there. Then you will notice right here it doesn't say source document, it says sales number, because all of the items that go within this journal are going to be a sales invoice, and then they will just put the number in there. We have a whole column for post reference, which we will do in a different chapter, and then we have 3 number columns. But I do need you to realize debit, and I have 2 credits. Number 1 mistakes that happens in this chapter is students flip these 2. Be aware, is this sales or is this sales tax? Okay, so which one should be bigger, sales or sales tax? Sales, right? So make sure you have the right one in there, because Applia will mark it all wrong and you'll be like, I did it right. I'm like, yes, you did, but you screwed up on your columns. So make sure you have it in the right column there. So this would be where I put $35 for those jeans. This is where I put $5 for sales tax, and then the total amount that I would owe Kohl's would be $40. So I would have 2 credits and 1 debit to roll through on there. So our directions read, the sales journal for distinctive appliances given below. Your instructor will guide you to the following examples. Using the current year, journalize the following transactions on page 9 of the sales journal. The sales invoice source document is abbreviated as S. Transaction 1, September 1st. Sold merchandise on account to Adrian Mikowski, $800 plus sales tax, $48 for a total of $848 on S104. First thing we got to do is let's get our date on there of September. Now, we are not going to write accounts receivable Adrian Mikowski. We are going to use just Adrian Mikowski. Sales invoice 104. How much is the total amount that Adrian owes us? $848. That goes in my accounts receivable debit column. The value of the product, $800, goes into sales. Sales tax is $48. On September 11th, we sold merchandise on account to Columbia Schools. So I'm going to put the date of the 11th. Account debited is going to be Columbia Schools. Sales invoice is going to be 105. And it says $875, and the school is exempt from sales tax. So I'm going to put $875 in accounts receivable and $875 in sales, leaving a sales tax payable credit column empty. The 28th, I sold merchandise on account to Swiss Delight, $1,460 plus sales tax of $87.60 for a total of $1,547.60, S106. I'm going to put in the date of the 28th. I'm selling it to Swiss Delight. Sales invoice 106. Total amount that Swiss Delight owes us is $1,547.60. Value of the product was $1,460, and sales tax $87.60. The last instruction says total, prove, and rule the sales journal. So what I need to know in order to total, prove, and rule my sales journal is how many days are in September? 30. So I put the date of the 30th, and then I'm going to go ahead and write the word totals, because I have more than one number I have to add up, versus the purchases journal where I just put total. Then I'm going to take out your handy dandy little calculator, and then you're going to go ahead and add up your numbers from above. Don't forget your cents. I know that. Go ahead. Thank you. I must have made a math mistake. Mine's not coming out yet. I had made a math mistake on my sales credit column, but I got that to come out. And on the bottom of this one, they did go through and give you an option to have a spot to have your proving totals. They will not always give that to you in the chapter, but they do expect you to know anytime you total and prove a journal, you should make sure that your debits and credits equal. Go ahead and try that on your own. While you're working on your own, I just want to walk through a couple different things. I did turn on application 10-1. That is going to be due Monday at the start of class. It should be very similar to the Work Together and On Your Own we just did, so it should not take you too long. I would expect you to have read 10-1 and 10-2 for class on Monday. I will not be here on Monday, so it's really important that you understand what's happening in 10-2. You will have a video that you need to watch to help you complete your Work Together and On Your Own. I have your study guide turned on already. That is going to be due on Thursday of next week. Also in Classroom, you do have the very start of your outline for Chapter 10. There is going to still be a lot of vocabulary in Chapter 10 because we're understanding and getting a lot of new concepts. So make sure that you plan appropriately for getting your study guide done. At this point, I am looking at having a test, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. So I have that date turned on in Classroom for you for your outline. So please make sure for class on Monday that you have read 10-1 and 10-2. For class on Tuesday, make sure you have read 10-3, and that is the whole entire chapter. So on Tuesday, I will have taught the whole chapter to you at this point already.